Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us this evening for the second annual Evening to Elevate Educators. We wish we could be with you in person. However, with the pandemic, we have reimagined the event and put together a virtual inspirational evening of speakers, performances, and interviews. Some guests will be able to be here live in the studio, and others will be joining us virtually. Over the past weeks, we have all experienced or witnessed the drastic changes in our school landscape. Leaders, teachers, and families are having to make drastic shifts as most of our schools return to virtual learning. In addition, as our schools grapple with issues surrounding diversity, equity, inclusion, and racial justice, PEBC is committed to representing the diversity of voices, cultures, experiences of all teachers and students. Educators have a lot on their plates right now. By joining us this evening, you are recognizing the tremendous efforts of today's teachers and educational leaders, and we thank you. I'm Michelle Morris-Jones, and I'm a Senior Director of Education at PEBC. I began my teaching career in Santa Fe as an in-school suspension teacher at the local high school, and I was so young that teachers and principals would always ask, "Where's your hall pass?" Well, 25 years later, my role in education includes crafting professional learning experiences for teachers and school leaders here in Colorado and around the country. And I love my job. I love working side by side with students, teachers, and school leaders. Last spring, during the quarantine, I launched PEBC's phenomenal teaching podcast from my bedroom closet. The podcast features the expertise and experience of teachers, leaders, and authors. It has been an incredible experience to share the stories of today's educators with others. We just released our 26th episode today, and I am honored to serve you this evening as the MC. It is with great pleasure that I introduce our first guest, PEBC Board Chair, Marcelina Rivera. Marcelina is a lifelong educator who began her career in the classroom as both an English teacher and as an English as a second language teacher. After becoming a lawyer, she went on to become the Assistant Superintendent of the New America Schools and served as the Chief of Strategic Management for the Aurora Public Schools. Welcome, Marcelina. It's wonderful to have you here this evening.
Well, thank you, Michelle, and we are going to be looking for that hall pass a little bit later and making sure that you're in the appropriate place that you belong, young lady. So, good evening to all of you at home or wherever you may be. I have the honor of serving as the board chair here at PEBC, and I am here tonight because my life was changed by a dedicated, excellent public school teacher in Jefferson County. I got involved with education and with PEBC because I know firsthand how important it is to recruit, train, and support educators. And I hope you agree with us at PEBC that every student deserves to have an excellent teacher. Now, on this evening to elevate educators, we want teachers to know that you have champions on your side, and they are serving on our board of directors. They are business executives, community leaders, and school superintendents, and I thank each of them for all they do for PEBC, and also to our partners here at Aurora TV, to Randy and the team behind the scenes, and to the City of Aurora for being such wonderful community partners. This event would not have been possible without the support of amazing sponsors. So please hear this loud thank you to our Elevate Educator sponsors, DaVita Kidney Care, Kaiser Permanente, our Honor Educator sponsors, Colorado Public Employees Retirement Association, First Bank, Peak Resources, Pinnacle Assurance, XL Energy, and our Celebrate Educator sponsors, Alpine Bank, Colorado Rural Schools Alliance, Comcast, Ernst Young, New Media, and Polsinelli. And individuals who joined the sponsor family include Tiffany Bray, Christine Morrow, Mike, Janie, Gabby, and Braden Ramsire, Syra Rahman, and Ed Schultz. Thanks to the generosity of these sponsors, we've already raised more than $30,000. I also want to recognize our elected officials in attendance tonight. Senator Bob Rankin, Senator Nancy Todd, Representative Barb McLaughlin, Senator Pete Lee, Representative Shannon Bird, and our Commissioner of Education, Katie Anthus, State Board of Education, Joyce Rankin, and one special elected official tuning in tonight is Colorado's own Governor Polis. Long before Governor Polis served in his current role, he was an innovative champion of education, and I was fortunate to work with him as he founded schools for at-risk students and new immigrants. And he then went on to serve on the State Board of Ed. Tonight, he has a special message he'd like to share with us, and we're going to hear from him live right now. Governor Polis, good to see you.
Thank you, Marcelina, for the kind introduction. And PEBC, thank you for organizing this event. Like a lot of things, it looks a bit different to keep folks safe during the global pandemic. But thank you for the ongoing work, now more important than ever before, to support our teachers, support our students. To all the educators who are watching, listening, viewing, thank you for your dedication, for your support, for being flexible and learning to do things in new and different ways. And appreciate those of you who are back in the classroom every day, and when your cohort goes online, being able to continue that education for the 10 days or 14 days before you can return to the classroom. I want to thank you for that work. I want to thank the members of the State Board of Education, the state legislators. As Marcelin indicated, I've really focused on improving education for kids across my entire career. Last year, I was proud that with PEBC's help, we implemented full-day kindergarten for every child. And I think we can all be proud that this year, voters overwhelmingly, 67%, Republicans, Democrats, independents, rural, urban, suburban, voted overwhelmingly for free preschool for every child, which will begin in 2023. And we were so excited to work with PEBC on getting that done. Education is truly the key to success, the key to addressing persistent social and economic inequities, to give everybody a fair shot, making sure that they get a good education. And our public education system is nothing without our teachers and educators who dedicate themselves every day to preparing every student to live their full potential. Now we obviously in the short term have education in the backdrop of the global pandemic, teachers, principals, superintendents going above and beyond, taking on risks they normally wouldn't, adopting in new ways of learning. Tonight is about celebrating our teachers. And particularly, I want to thank the teachers in schools in Colorado that are safely back in the classroom. We believe that public education is safe everywhere in our state, especially for K through 8. And we hope that the vast majority of districts are back fully in person, and we hope that others return soon. Teaching is really an essential part of our society. You're really helping to guide the next generation of Coloradans, leaders in the private sector, the public sector, whatever folks do. And we really can't thank you enough for the time and effort that you put in to make the classroom safe in normal days, and of course, even more so during the global pandemic. Teachers have a critical role in the health and safety of students and families, physically and mentally, especially now. I want to thank the Colorado teachers working hard to support students during a time when the students are also feeling great uncertainty about themselves and their lives. And the risk for their parents and grandparents. Last week, I released the 21-22 budget, and we were proud, thanks to the wisdom and thoughtfulness of working with the JBC in prior years, planning for this downturn. We are now in a position to be able to talk about restoring some of the cuts to education. We are proposing increasing per pupil funding by $902. That's the lowest budget stabilization factor in 11 years and the lowest we've had as a percentage of funding. We're also proposing emergency funding, I should say short-term special funding for the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, support for kindergarten readiness, $1.2 million in early childhood educator workforce development, $3 million to help with the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, and then restoring the funding for the Educator Loan Forgiveness Program in acknowledgement of folks who have those student loans hanging over their heads and have chose to gone into the field of public education. One of my reasons I ran for governor is to make sure Colorado is a place where everyone can thrive, regardless of their background, their race, their geography, their income level. And access to education is a critical part of achieving that vision. It wouldn't be possible without the hard work and dedication of teachers, administrators, and organizations like PEBC and other nonprofit support organizations across the state. I want to take the time to acknowledge the critical work of Public Education and Business Coalition in supporting and preparing for excellence. Teachers across our entire state. During a time when a lot feels uncertain, our teachers are that anchor, that relationship with student and families, helping communities across the state move forward in this difficult time and making sure that our children's future is not a casualty of this pandemic. Thank you, Marcelina.
Governor, thank you so much for your message and for your support of education and PEBC tonight and always. Michelle, I know you'd like to introduce our audience to our first and very talented entertainment from Youth on Record.
Thank you, Marcelina. This is a really special evening, and we have another special guest joining us. Youth on Record is a Colorado-based nonprofit that empowers youth to find their voice and value through music. Our first musician is Edwina Mabin. When Edwina isn't working on her music or supporting other musicians at Youth on Record, she is studying music production and computer science at the University of Colorado at Denver. Please enjoy this beautiful performance by Edwina.
I didn't sleep that much last night. I was dreaming a mile a minute and I forgot to close my eyes. And I saw tomorrow full of change, brand new first times. But I woke up today with the sun in my face and a change of mind. So I follow the way of the lights and I let them guide me through the dark. When I felt messed up, took bad decisions too far, I'd use them to tell my heart that if yesterday hurt me, tomorrow's gonna heal me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. If yesterday trapped me, tomorrow's gonna free me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. So go tell yesterday, sometimes I miss you more than I should have been. Oh, would it be like if distance didn't kill what could have been? But you always pushed me towards my dreams. I've been chasing them ever since. So I'll pack up good, hope you're proud of who I'm becoming. So I follow the way of the lights and I let them guide me through the dark. When I felt messed up, took bad decisions too far, I'd use them to tell my heart that if yesterday hurt me, tomorrow's gonna heal me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. If yesterday trapped me, tomorrow's gonna free me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. So go tell yesterday, yesterday hurt me, tomorrow's gonna heal me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. If yesterday trapped me, tomorrow's gonna free me, and I'm gonna be alright, 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 alright. If yesterday hurt me, tomorrow's gonna heal me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, alright. If yesterday trapped me, tomorrow's gonna free me, and I'm gonna be alright, alright, go tell yesterday.
That was lovely and truly inspiring. I absolutely believe those words. Everything is going to be all right. Edwina's song reminds us to think about the possibilities of the future. One of the most future and forward-minded thinkers that I know is PEBC President and CEO Sue Sava. Sue is joining us in the studio tonight to share her passion and vision with you.
Good evening, and thank you, Michelle. I am honored to serve teachers, leaders, and students as the President and CEO of the Public Education and Business Coalition. 8 months ago, when the pandemic hit and schools were shut down, I immediately thought, we got this, and we can support. Because the PEBC team encompasses the most passionate, talented, and driven educators and coaches I have ever met. I had and have 100% confidence in our ability to pivot rapidly to ensure teachers will not only survive, but thrive. To illustrate the point, in the midst of the chaos that was this spring that you all lived through, PEBC decided to host a virtual conference for over 150 teachers worldwide. Unfortunately, during this event, I wound up stranded in Oakland, California in a broken down RV. I was so committed to attending that I logged into the symposium from the repair shop, where I had the privilege of learning with teachers from as far away as Switzerland and as close as 2 miles from where I was sitting. These amazing teachers offered to host my family for as long as it would take to get us back on our feet. It was at this moment that I was truly blown away by PEBC's scope and impact. The community and care which we prioritize sets us apart and ensures that the teachers and leaders we work with are always supported, nurtured, and uplifted. So it's no surprise to any of us that for the past 8 months, the team at PEBC has been in accelerated and bold action mode. The professional learning team is busy working with clients and delivering an impressive suite of online institutes, events, and workshops that address teachers' concerns right now, including social and emotional learning support and culturally and linguistically diverse education. Our teacher residency team successfully shifted to 100% virtual coaching and instruction overnight and is already very successfully recruiting for next school year. On the policy side, along with Keystone Policy Center, we are leading a statewide convening to study innovative teachers and the best practices deployed this school year in order to capture innovations for our future. PEBC is also participating in Promise 54, where we are learning alongside other education organizations about how to better integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion more fully into our work. Promise 54 is grounded in the work of realizing the promise explicit in Brown versus Board of Ed from 1954. This pandemic has impacted everyone, and we understand that there are drastic social, economic, and educational inequities that are being not only revealed, but amplified. It is more important now than ever that our teachers are equipped to help students build independence and agency to become engaged and influential citizens. We are awestruck by the tremendous capacity our educators have to provide exceptional educational experiences for their students, but they cannot and should not have to go it alone. With support, teachers and leaders are not only getting through this challenging time, they are also able to discover opportunities to grow, connect, and learn. I hope you know how truly grateful I am tonight to help make that magic happen. Your support truly makes a difference to us, to our phenomenal teachers, and most importantly, to our children. Here's a look at how PEBC is ensuring teachers will not only survive, but thrive.
There are so many magical teachers out there. We see them in action every day. One of them making magic happen is Kirsten Myers-Blake. She teaches at Brown International Academy in Denver and is currently teaching first grade virtually from her kitchen table. Kirsten is one of many PEBC lab hosts. Our lab hosts open their hearts and minds to fellow educators who visit their classrooms and observe their teaching. This is a signature practice of PEBC's teacher preparation and professional development model. Kirsten believes that each and every student deserves the best of what we got, and she prepared a short message for everyone this evening.
Hi friends, I hope you are well. I know it has been a long time since we've been able to gather together and think. But I'm coming to you live from my virtual classroom where I teach here and my own 2 children learn 10 feet away from me. It's real easy. I know that this year has given us more blows and more hurdles to jump over than an Olympian. But I think at what we've been through as teachers, but I also think about what our students have gone through. And since March till now, there has been drastic change, drastic trauma that they've had to endure. In March, they had their classrooms, they had to say goodbye to their beloved teachers and their classmates, and they had to learn to interact on this flat space, this non-tangible space. And how many of them took it really seriously? Because of course this was going to end. Wasn't going to be like this for that much longer, right? And then they had to have this new technology, and then they go into the summer and they lose their communities, their summer communities, their sports, their friends. And then we live through this challenging time of these protests where students are watching this happen and families are watching this happen, and they no longer know what to think. Then we go into the fall, not knowing again what school is going to look like, many of them not finding out what teachers they're going to have until hours before their first day. And now they're walking through an election that is fraught with tension and pain on any side that you stand. So that's what our kids have walked through. That's what their families have walked through. And again, how we're holding them is in this flat 2-dimensional space. So how do we hold people? How do we have our love translate and hold through something flat like a screen? That's our work. And yes, our work is here to teach them how to blend words and how to think and how to write essays and how to persuade. But our real work is how do we hold their hearts and their minds in order to develop an identity as a person who can withstand this world. That is our job. And the PEBC is here holding us and reminding us teachers, beckoning to us, remember, like Mufasa to Simba, remember who you are. Remember that. And as we remember what our hearts are meant to do for children, somehow this flat screen is translated into arms that can hold the children that we serve and can hold the families that we are blessed to work with. It's that work that is the important work. So I encourage you to listen to that beckoning, to come back and to know what phenomenal teaching means. It is not just about practice, but it is about translating something that can go through a screen.
That's right. We have to connect. We have to love hard, even if it is through a screen. PEBC is a Colorado-based nonprofit, and we serve educators across Colorado and the nation. As you know, this is a fundraiser. So before I introduce you to our next guest, I would like to express our gratitude to our generous event sponsors. Thank you to all of our Elevate Educator and Honor Educators level sponsors. These companies help teachers to become exceptional educators. Our highest level sponsors include DaVita Kidney Care and Kaiser Permanente, We would also like to thank Para, First Bank, Peak Resources, Excel Energy, and Pinnacle Workers' Comp Assurance. We are seeing your donations come in, and we are very appreciative of your generosity. Thank you so much to our board chair, Marcelina Rivera, for a generous gift. We've also received donations from Craig May and Mark Tappy, both PEBC Catalysts, Paul Konoski, Brooke Fleming, who's on the PEBC board, Jane and Alan Higby, Nick Mackel, Lisa Weil, and one of our donors in this first round of donations actually sat on the very, very first PEBC board. Many of you might know him through his work in the business community or in higher ed, but special appreciation to Joe Blake. You can also donate from home and on our website above, or by texting PEBC 56651. I'm excited to introduce Kevin Chester, who recently found his way into the classroom via the PEBC Teacher Residency Program. Kevin has a remarkable story as a career changer. Kevin grew up in inner city Chicago and had a strong group of mentors who supported him throughout his youth and adulthood. His journey took him from Chicago to becoming a college athlete, to playing professional basketball in Europe, and then back to the United States, where he became a police officer and served for 7 years. All along, Kevin found ways to mentor youth in meaningful ways. And he is now able to combine his professional passion and his personal passions by teaching math and English at Columbine High School, where he supports the academic and emotional needs of students at risk. This week, Kevin shared with me that teaching during the pandemic feels more like an opportunity than a challenge because he was so well prepared. Let's listen to our conversation.
A little bit about your preparation. I know that you're an alumni of the PEBC Teacher Residency Program, and I'm just curious as to how did your work with the PEBC or your experience in that program prepare you for this opportunity?
So for me, like teaching and getting my first teaching job has been almost like a seamless transition because of the PEBC program. I like the fact that you have a year of just real world experience and going through all the ebbs and flows of teaching and seeing how things go over the course of a year instead of being in other programs where it only lasts 6 weeks. And so having that experience and going with the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations you have to go through as a teacher, I felt like I came into teaching as almost a seasoned teacher. And so when it comes to IEG goals and class norms and everything that you have throughout the course of a year from beginning to end, it was a seamless transition for me. And I think it prepared me very well. And I feel like things are much easier for me than other teachers, first year teachers that come from other programs.
Wow, that's a resounding endorsement. Thank you. And that's really interesting, though, to think about. You had this opportunity to work with a mentor teacher for not just a number of weeks, but actually for the entire school year and really get to kind of understand the ebb and flow of the school year. So this year, we're in a school year like no other, and you are teaching during a pandemic and really supporting students who are at risk. And when you think about your role and you think about, the future of this school year, what is it you'd want other people to know about teaching right now?
Teaching is full of uncertainties, just like any other job. But as long as you care for your students and let them know that you truly do care about them, they're willing to do anything for you, no matter what the situation may be. And a lot of our students are going through this as well, and so are their parents. So like you have kids that are having family members lose their jobs, and they're having to help during this pandemic and get jobs. And we have to be understanding and give grace to ourselves as well as our students as well, and just make sure we're there for them and make sure they have a safe environment when they do come to school or they are online. And we're just giving them our love and giving them our support and keep encouraging them to have that growth mindset and know that we're all in this together and we'll get through it together.
Wow, Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet Kevin, and I'm looking forward to watching him continue to have an impact on Colorado kids in his classroom or on the basketball court. I really hope to see him come January when my kids' high school plays Columbine. So another teacher making a difference in classrooms is Jennifer Engbretson. She is one of our lab hosts who teaches 9th and 10th grade math at North High School in Denver, and we are lucky to have her in the studio with us tonight. Jennifer, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So I know we have a couple pictures of your classroom here, and did you ever imagine that teaching math would look like this?
Not in my wildest dreams.
So what's going on here?
So this is my closet that I took the doors off of and set up my virtual classroom background. And then I have like my command central where I have one computer that I have my student facing materials on and I can see my Zoom call. And then I have another computer where I can see the teacher facing stuff where I can see student work and I can look at their thinking. And then I have a third monitor, which is just an old TV that I hooked up to my computer. And that's where I have my email and my Google Voice and my Remind text messages so I can chat with students if they're having technology problems or help them problem solve to get things open and engage in the learning.
Wow, so right there, I mean, that's a huge lift, just to move from in-person to virtual teaching. Now, I know that for you, it just goes beyond that setup. And I know that you've had the honor or the privilege, depending on how people look at it, to be virtual the entire year. So at this point in the school year, you've had an opportunity to take some deep breaths, really be intentional, and to prioritize. So what are you learning, and what are you prioritizing for kids right now?
So when I knew we were going to be remote again in the fall, I knew it was going to be very different than it was in the spring because I wouldn't have met any of my students. And so one thing that was so important to me is creating those connections with my kids. I wanted to make sure that every single day they felt seen and they felt heard and they felt valued. Even if they're just little black tiles on my screen, I want to see them. And so I've worked really hard to figure out how can I find ways to see students and talk to them individually by putting individual breakout rooms where my students work independently and I can go in and I can talk to them about their thinking and answer questions and ask them about their weekend and just get to know them in this new reality that we live in.
Wow, so I mean, kind of like what Kirsten reminded of us, like I love her on the screen, right? Like we're in this new reality, like how can I connect with you?
Yeah.
So I know that connection is huge for you. What is another priority that you hold for your learners?
The other thing that I spend so much energy on is thinking about how I give my best first instruction. I know that no matter what, my kids are going on to the next level of math next year. So I have to make sure they're ready. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about what were the things that I did inside of my classroom when I could look over my students' shoulders and see what they were thinking and help them and support them. And how can I take that and translate it into the virtual world? So what platforms can I use where I can see my students thinking and I can still honor and value that even when I can't look over their shoulder.
Wow, so you want to see them as people and you're going to see them as learners.
Yeah.
So I know that earlier today you hosted one of our very first virtual lab visits.
Yes.
Where you had a group of teachers who had a chance to peek into your virtual classroom and see you in action with kids and then debrief and have that conversation. Big day.
Yes.
Not to put too much on your calendar.
Nope.
So, but tell us, what is your journey? Like, how did you get here? What is your relationship with PEBC, and how has PEBC supported you along the way?
So at my previous school, several years ago, I got the opportunity to attend the PEBC Math Institute, and I learned so much and was so inspired. Went back to my classroom, tried a few things, and really loved and embraced the framework. And then I got the opportunity to come to North High School, and one of the first things that they said is, do you know what about PEBC? And my response was, of course I know about PEBC.
Love that.
And at that point, North was in turnaround.
Okay.
And with turnaround, you have some extra funds to invest in teacher professional development. And through that, we got to partner with PEBC. So I got my own instructional coach, who's been my coach for the last 9 years. I got to attend professional development, both inside of our school with staff developers and at PEBC institutes, and we got to go see classrooms across the state, and they helped us see each other's classrooms. And so through all of that, I started to really figure out, what does all of that stuff that I learned in the Math Institute all those years ago, what does that look like in my classroom with my kids? And in that time, like I said, we were in turnaround. We had 3 years of high growth. We went from red to orange to yellow to green on the school performance framework, and we got out of turnaround, which is amazing. And when you're not in turnaround anymore, the funds aren't quite there. And so we didn't have the same kind of partnership with PEBC that we had before, but in my time when I was working really closely with them, I got the opportunity to be developed as a lab host. And so I still get to work really closely with PEBC. And this time I get to welcome people into my classroom from across the state and across the country. And I learned just as much from these labs as the participants do. And it's just been incredible. And like I said, I still have my same coach from 9 years, and I get to attend professional development still, and it's amazing.
And I'm also guessing you also get to impact your colleagues and collaborate with them, who many of also are PEBC lab hosts. So all of you then are able to really support the teachers in your building, even though we can't be there as much as we used to be. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, you're incredible. Your story is inspirational. Your agency, your enthusiasm, your optimism is absolutely contagious. I know that earlier this fall, I had an opportunity to interview you for the podcast. So if anybody is curious, how do you use 4 screens? How do you use things like Desmos and Pear Deck? They should listen in because it will blow their mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take a look at how our fundraising is doing. Marcelina, do you have an update on donations? So exciting.
Hot off the press.
Thank you. All right, so we have a lot of donations coming in. So thank you to David Lockhart for $500 donation, Len Hoffelman for $500, Ken Weil $100, Carol Alexander for $150, Mary Hacking at $500, and Tiffany Anderson. We also have donations from Rebecca Crow, Jenna Lipton, Fran and Chris Gorka, Signe Hartman, Barbara Klaus, and Matt Yarber. Throughout the evening, we have highlighted our vision, our work in the area of policy, teacher preparation, and the ways in which we provide professional learning for all teachers. All of our work is to ensure that each and every student has a phenomenal teacher. We need you to join us in this work by making a donation tonight. Now is the time to give. So if you are viewing from our website, a box to donate is located just above this video on the right. You can also text to give by texting PEBC 56651. Here's how your donation will help teachers. If you have the capacity to make a more significant gift, we really need your help. $1,000 supports one teacher resident on their journey to an exceptional teaching career. $500 helps to provide a leadership pathway for a teacher in the Lab Host Fellow program, someone who could be just like Jennifer or Kirsten and join us in opening their classrooms for others. A $250 gift provides a teacher with a scholarship for a one-day institute where they will learn how to teach for agency and understanding. A $100 donation tonight will provide a teacher with materials for a PEBC institute where he or she will explore the power of the workshop model, thinking strategies, and discourse. We hope everyone tuning in tonight will make a donation. Can we get 100% of you to pitch in? If you make a $60 gift, 2 lab host teachers will get all of the materials they need to welcome colleagues into their classrooms to learn alongside them. And your $30 donation will help us produce free, quality content for teachers through our blogs and our podcast. All right, this part is hard. I want you to think back to your very favorite teacher or a teacher who made an impact on you. Everyone has that special teacher in their life, the one that made all the difference. Well, tonight is the night to honor this teacher. I'm thinking about my 9th grade speech and drama teacher. I was never picked for a speaking role in the play, and I got 2nd place in the oration contest at the Rotary Club. I had a perm, I had braces, and I sometimes wore glasses. I was brave, awkward, and kind way before it was cool. If it wasn't for that teacher, I wouldn't be here tonight. I wouldn't be recording podcasts in my closet. So please consider making a donation, no matter how small, as a way to thank that special teacher. Our teachers are depending on us more than ever, and now is the time to show them our love. As you are making your donation, I'd like to move on to our final interview of the evening. Simone Brackett has a rich history as a teacher and a school administrator in public, charter, and private schools. Simone is a graduate of the Stanley Teacher Prep, which merged with PEBC Teacher Residency and is now the head of K-12 at Stanley. Simone believes that we must elevate the teaching profession by providing high-quality professional learning opportunities for teachers, shaping policies that make an impact, and providing better funding for teacher salaries that honor the hard work of educators. Simone recently joined me in the studio to talk about the challenges that schools are facing in the area of teacher recruitment and retention. Hi, Simone. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here, Michelle.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to dive in this afternoon into your perspective on education, the current situation, and what it is that teachers really need. And I know that everyone who's in our audience is going to be really interested in who is Simone and what is she all about. I know that you have this rich experience as a teacher and an administrator. You've worked in urban contexts, suburban contexts, private schools, public schools, and charter schools. So can you share just a little bit with us about you and who you are?
Sure. Well, I am a Colorado native, and I started off school here in Colorado, and I knew that I wanted to be a teacher from a very young age. I had some extraordinary examples, and then I went off to college, studied other things that were not education because I just had passions about them, and I did that in New Mexico, and then I came back to Colorado, and I did a teacher prep program, and that started my entire career, and it was really important to me to be able to take what I learned and go into the public schools and to serve them and serve them well. And then it took me to North Carolina, where I was a teacher for many years in K through 5. And then I went into administration and was at a K-8 charter school. And then I started a North Carolina Principal Fellows program. And then I was a vice principal in a middle school for 2 years, doing primarily social and emotional focus. And then I got a call to come back to Colorado. And so I came and interviewed, and so now I'm back here at the school where I started my early education. And so it's wonderful to be back home in all those senses.
Oh, congratulations. And the timing couldn't be better because everyone in education right now feels the burden and the stress and the upheaval from COVID-19 and trying to make sure we take care of, you said, like the social and emotional needs of students as well as foster academic growth and achievement. So from your position as an administrator and from your wealth of experiences around Colorado and in North Carolina, what do teachers need right now?
That's a great question. And I would say from public schools to charters to private schools, what we need more than ever, even in the face of COVID, is what we've always needed, which is very well-trained teachers. And I think what we're seeing now is that those teachers who are very well-trained and very well-supported are able to then pivot and to handle the many calls on them right now, which is absolutely Herculean. And they're doing extraordinary jobs across the board in a really difficult way. But what they need is to be consistently funded, consistently supported, and upheld as the professionals that they are. And in order to do that, they need to have a firm foundation of what they're doing and why they're doing it, and then a continuous support structure that allows for excellent mentoring. I think at any level, even if you've been teaching for 20 years, you really need to be able to have someone that helps you reflect and to grow. And in doing that, we create better classrooms for students who are better capable of going out into the world and being change makers.
Wow, so you think about what you just said, that's incredible. Like really, like that is what teachers need. And some of the things that we know in education are true even in this context. But it's understanding that art and science of teaching that then allows us to be more flexible in our classrooms and allows us to make changes in order to meet the needs of students.
Absolutely.
So when we think about teacher preparation and we think about teacher retention, what are a couple hallmarks or what are a couple of those even more so than hallmarks, even nuances that are critical.
Yeah, I would say even across my teacher preparation and my admin preparation, I would say the bedrock of it really was being able to have the theory and the practice hand in hand. I think there's a lot of instances where people who are training to become teachers maybe get the theory completely separate than the practice, and then they don't have that opportunity to reflect on what they've done, and then with a really strong practitioner. And both of my programs had phenomenal practitioners that definitely had at least one foot still in the classroom, if not both, who could then help to mentor me into what I needed to do, and were not so far removed that they knew exactly what the struggles were and what the pitfalls were, but let me kind of go through them and then would come back and undergird me. And so also, in order to have those people needed to be funded to be able to do the work. And if you take that funding out, then you don't have the mentoring programs. You don't have the opportunities for teachers to really work and collaborate. And when you work and collaborate, then you get that synergy of being able to have better classrooms, better planned classrooms, more solid teachers who feel like they are supported and structured and can go forward and then impart the knowledge that they need to.
Yeah, so just like in a classroom, teacher agency, just like student agency, comes from that ownership and independence.
Absolutely.
But in order to do that, we need to create really strong programs.
Yes.
You mentioned funding a couple of times. Why is it important for individuals, businesses, to fund education and educators?
Yeah, I think that there's often this short-sighted thought of, well, my student goes here, and so I just need to be concerned about them. But really, we're looking at the future of the entire area where you live, the entire world that you live in. The students who are there now, who are learning to ask questions, be inquisitive, have a sense of agency, know how to have a good discussion, are those same people that will be running things later on.
Exactly.
Right? And it doesn't just stop at, oh, you went to this school, so you'll do this job. We are talking about an entire generation of students. And so it's important that we support every single one of them in having an excellent educator so that they can go out and be change makers in the world that we create.
Thank you, Simone. I think that sharing your story with us and really thinking about the importance of funding, I think really illuminates the importance of the teaching profession and really elevates that profession for all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I could not have said it better myself. As Simone explained, it is more important than ever that we support our teachers, and you have the opportunity to do that tonight. If you haven't done so, please take a few minutes to make a donation. Every bit counts. As we wrap up our evening, let's recognize a few of the folks who have given tonight. I believe that there is a fundraising update coming in any second. Thank you. All right, so here we go. This is straight from the office. Matt McGrigg has donated twice, so big shout out to Matt. Lee Wheeler Berlinger has donated $250. Tom Brinegar came in with 2 big donations. Philip Hudgens, Robert Martin, Laura Mora Babu, Debbie Tolley, Allison McGonahan, and Nathan Roberts have all donated as well. We also have Tammy Berberick at $250, Eileen Knapp, Lydia Woodward at $500, Brad Fisher, Paula, we appreciate you, Cynthia and Ken Pink, and Ellen Keene. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is absolutely, oh wait, I have another one.
We brought over $10,000, 10,000.
Just since we started airing, we've brought in 10,000 more donations. Thank you all so much. So I'm hearing from the office that we'd love to get another 5. So now is the moment when I channel my inner telethon hosting capabilities from all the telethons I watched in my grandparents' living room growing up. So please, if you can, donate just a little bit. Help us reach that goal so that we can do all of the great work for teachers here in Colorado to serve our students, because we really truly believe that each and every student deserves a phenomenal teacher, and we want to be able to continue to do our work for them and to pivot and make changes and adjust our programming so that we can serve teachers in a way that's safe and of high quality. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been an incredible experience. And as we wrap up, I just want to thank you. I also would like to thank Aurora TV, the team at PEBC, our guests, our sponsors, our donors, and all of you for joining us. I can't wait to see you all in person next year. It is going to be quite an event. If you joined us last year for Elevate Educators, you saw a very special performance by Flowbots and lead singer Stephen Brackett, who was a participant in our teacher residency program. Well, this year, we are excited to feature Youth on Record, which Stephen helped establish. This nonprofit organization is committed to helping youth discover how their voice and value can create a better world. This year, Youth on Record brought us a powerful performance by July and Juicebox of Paradise. Thank you for joining us this year, and thank you for your donations and your support. We appreciate you all from the very bottom of our hearts. We appreciate you having us in your homes or in your cars or on your phones this evening. And just remember, send those teachers the thank you notes, write the positive messages on social media. Teachers need each and every one of us right now in more ways than we can count. Thank you for joining us.
I'm a minority in America. Don't ask me why I'm stressed out. These white supremacists lock us up and then bleed the rest out. I can't escape my skin, so in turn, it follows me blindly. If it ever wasn't on my mind, it never ceased to find me. I could blend in with the crowd, but it still stays behind me. Jim Crow never died, see, his legacy breeded zombies. Not only blacks are affected, my sexual preference magnifies it. Then to add to that, I'm a woman, so they antagonize me. Flesh may be temporary, but black is forever. Like the CIA, flooded neighborhoods with crack is forever. The smell of blood that plagues the route of middle passage forever. The culture that they love to hate and take advantage forever. The country that we built, you know they'll take for granted forever. Neighborhoods named after clans that house our families forever. Listening to them try to justify the reasons why my people die, all the while telling me that I should be happy. I'm alive.
Please don't let them dim your light.
This is not all right.
Please don't let them dim your light.
This is not all right.
Raise your fist.
It's on sight.
I'm gonna be there for the fight. Please don't let them dim your light. This is not all right. Raise your fist. It's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Please don't let them dim your light. This is not all right. Raise your fist. It's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. I see kings and queens. I see kids with dreams. I see the message to these white supremacist, power-hungry fiends. Black is bountiful.
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 I see fathers, mothers. I see sisters, brothers. I see community. I see the way y'all love each other. Black is wonderful.
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 I see so much work. I see so much pain. I see so much worth, and I see so much gain. Black is beautiful.
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 I see power and resistance in the fact of your existence. That's why this is not your fight. It's not your job to make the difference. Black is powerful.
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 So please don't let them dim your light. This is not all right. Raise your fist. It's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Please don't let them dim your light. This is not all right. Raise your fist. It's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful.
I see unequal opportunity in every form. From income earnings down to housing, cause we don't conform. Melanin is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Brown is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Black is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Even white is wonderful. I see injustice for identities that have a sexual preference different from cisgender man or woman.
Listen,
here's a message. She is powerful. He is powerful.
Powerful.
They are powerful.
Powerful.
We are powerful.
Powerful.
Didn't make it to Section 8,
But made minimum wage.
Job applications overlooked
To favor Dylan and Jake.
I know that culture matters.
Yeah.
I know traditions matter.
Yeah.
And every language matters.
Like what?
Like all religions matter. I heard the stomachs rumbling,
But couldn't get Excel to give a break.
sacrificing food to have a place to stay. I promise.
Brown lives matter. Black lives matter. Poor lives matter. Our lives matter. So please don't let them dim your light. This is not alright. Raise your fist, it's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Please don't let them dim your light. This is not alright. Raise your fist, it's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful.
Up with the people.
Down with the system.
Up with the knowledge.
Down with the curriculum.
Up with the voices.
Down with the narrative. We taking what we owed and breaking down what was inherited.
Up with the people.
Down with the system.
Up with the knowledge.
Down with the curriculum.
Up with the voices.
Down with the narrative. We taking what we owed and breaking down what was inherited.
Don't let them dim your light.
This is not alright. Raise your fist, it's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Please don't let them dim your light. This is not alright. Raise your fist, it's on sight. I'm gonna be there for the fight. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Black is powerful.
Black is powerful.
Black is bountiful.
Black is bountiful.
Black is wonderful.
Black is wonderful.
He is beautiful.
She is beautiful.
We are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Black is powerful.
Brown is powerful.
Black is powerful.
Black is powerful.